This is the Mississippi King welcoming y'all back to my next LP. Let's play Mega Man 7.
In the year 20XX AD, the world cheered Mega Man when at long last he captured and imprisoned Dr. Wiley.
Apparently there's a lot of people who dislike this game, but I've heard more about them than I've actually seen them.
But Dr. Wiley always knew his schemes might end in failure, and had planned for just such an occasion. Four robots had been hidden away, and after 6 months, without being contacted by Dr. Willy, they activate and begin searching for their master.
So yes, we've finally made the jump to 16 bits with the SNES. This is the very first Mega Man game released for a well, it's not. The first classic Mega Man game that was released for a console that wasn't the NES, and I'm not counting the Game Boy or Game Gear games or anything like that. This is Mega Man 7. So, yeah, let's actually give this thing a go. Its title theme is pretty good, but I can't say I like it as much as previous ones. Let's not waste any more time, Mississippi Dudes, and get right into it. Can't this thing go any faster, Otto? The city is under attack!
I'll try and punch it up a notch. Hold on, roll!
I can't believe Willy is loose again. Won't this madman ever stop? He won't be loose for long. Once Dr. Light gives me and Rush our new enhancements, Willy is history.
Whoa, end of the line, the road is too unstable to keep going.
You two wait here.
Mega Man, take this helmet with you.
I want fan art of that! Dang it! Give me fan art!
I guess not. Personally, I kinda like the other one.
Yeah! Now we're ready, so what's this? It's an intro stage, the first of the series. Good luck, Mega Man! So yeah, this is different. Instead, we're not sent to a title to, like, pick robot masters. Doctor, are you okay? I'll bring back Roll to take care of you!
No, Mega Man! We have no time! Willy is using the attack of his robots to cover his escape. Look!
He's escaping from prison, see, call it bumps! Dr. Willy, yes, he's Dr. Willy in this game, has the almighty arrows, and he escaped.
You've got to go now, Mega Man. Get Rush and follow Willy's spaceship.
And yes, I am going to be referring to him as Dr. Willy because dang these frickin' typos! This game was developed in only 3 months, and in terms of, like, the translation, it kinda shows. Although, believe me, surprisingly, it's actually not the worst translation in the series. It's actually fairly decent most of the time. Like, there's a game which had an even longer development cycle, but it ended up with worse translation. I mean, granted, the script was larger, but still. There's a pretty easy boss, by the way. And it's no problem. Pretty much you can beat him without breaking a sweat. And this is interesting. It's neat. It's kind of neat that they introduced an intro stage, not that they really do much with it. And here we're introduced to another robot, and he's pretty easy. You don't even really need to dodge him. You're as good as they say, Mega Man. You better tell me who you are? That's not a question. I'm Bass and he's Treble. We've been trying to stop Dr. Willy while you were gone. I see now that you don't need our help. Okay then. Bass? Yeah, that's his name alright. And I'm sure he won't be any problem. But yeah, that's all. But here we're actually introduced to 4 new robot masters. We have Freeze Man, Cloud Man, Burst Man, and Junk Man. So I'm actually going to be tackling Freeze Man first. And actually, one thing I feel I should mention is that is a change that I very much do not like. They changed it from 8 robot masters down to 4. Now, I realize this is a minor spoiler, but you do get to 8 robot masters eventually, after you defeat these 4. But still, you can only fight these 4 at first, and I do not like that change. Now, some people may say that it helps for scaling the difficulty. I disagree. I think that you can scale difficulty fairly interestingly, and plus, I find it more interesting for each Mega Man game to have their own self-contained challenges. For each stage to introduce its own hazards. And plus, I don't care if it's a bad idea to, tackle Slash Man first. I want to be able to tackle Slash Man first. Even if I wanted to tackle Slash Man first myself, I still liked being able to do that. But yeah, that is a serious issue that I have with this game. I don't like that change. It removes a lot of the strategy with, being able to pick your own order. Because it's I certainly wouldn't want to pick Freeze Man first, even though that's what I'm doing. But the reason I'm doing that is so I can get the item Rush a Search. It's an item in his stage, and that's one thing that Mega Man VII brought back, is that there are collectibles in each stage. And one of the collectibles in this stage is Rush a Search. And I'm using Rush Coil for these parts because I don't trust my ability to platform through and there you go. Case in point. That's another issue I have with this game, is that the controls just don't feel as tight as they did in previous Mega Man games. It's they feel more slippery. What used to be tight and precise is now slippery and hard to read. It just doesn't feel right. Now, I won't stand here and say that the controls are terrible or that they're some of the worst in any game ever. No, that's just not true. The controls still are decent, they still work good enough, but good enough is not a high standard. For this series, the controls didn't just work good enough, they were generally quite good. And like, as for that, it's like I just don't feel the controls are precise, and plus the sprite size is bigger, so it's harder to read where the hitboxes are. And it just doesn't feel as tight as before. But with regards to the Robot Masters, it's like, some people may also say that, like, there are only 4 for plot reasons, but I disagree with that, too, because, you know, the plot is pretty simple, and it's like, all it says when they reveal the other 4 are that, like, there are more of Willy's robots attacking the city, and it's like, why couldn't it have just been 8 robots that were in hibernation? It's like, does that really add anything to the story? I don't think so. But yeah, I'm tackling Freeze Man first, because, like, he can be very tricky if you're not used to him. By the way, I'm not going to be reading any of the dialogue describing the items, the weapons, that is. But anyway, he can be pretty tricky, and his pattern is difficult to read if you're new to it. However, there is a trick. What you want to do is note that whenever you shoot, he jumps. So if you shoot at him and then dive and then slide under him when he's right next to you, then you can dodge him. And remember to jump when he freezes the ground, because if you're not careful, then that will just freeze you in place. You won't be able to move. It doesn't actually damage you, but it does freeze you in place and allows him to get a free hit in, so yeah, watch out for that. He can be difficult, but if you know what you're doing, he's actually not that hard. Admittedly, he's kind of easy. I mean, I don't want to, like, rag on this game, like, a lot, because I do genuinely enjoy it. It's, like, as I've said, I don't think there's a bad classic Mega Man game. Although there are bad weapons, and I think the Freeze Cracker is one of the bad weapons in the series. So why did I tackle Freeze Man for my first Robot Master? Simple, for the Freeze Cracker. Now I know that sounds kind of contradictory, but you see, the thing is, you can actually use it for several things, and one of them in Cloudman's stage, you can use it on some of the weather-controlling robots to make it snow, and this makes certain platforms available. And so you can use that to your advantage, but you can also use it in Junkman's stage to get another collectible. And that's pretty good. That's worth keeping in mind. You can use it to get another of the rush plates. Yeah, I guess I should explain them. Basically, the RUSH plates grant you access to the Rush Super Adapter, which is basically the Rush Power and Jet adapters from Mega Man 6 combined. And, wait, but you can freeze the cloud platforms? And the cloud disappears? What? I did not know you could do that. Wow. I mean, I guess you learn new things every day. I had no idea that that was a thing, but yeah, that's kind of neat. It doesn't seem to actually do anything, though, but that's still kind of cool. No pun intended. But yeah, these are the platforms that are visible, like, they're coming up right here. And so now you can see them, but before, like, there was only a spotlight for them. You can't really see them, so they're like invisible platforms. To be clear, they're not as bad as at least they give you a field of view for where your platform is, so it's not totally unfair. There are worse examples of that in the series. But yeah, basically the freeze cracker, they don't tell you this, but you can actually aim it up or down. I did not know this when I first used it, and thus, later I found that out. So yeah, thanks for not telling me that crap, game. You could have just said that. That's one thing that kind of bothers me, but it's not a big deal. There are some things that I enjoy about this game. The level design is fun, and it's top-notch as always. And it just feels nice, and the pacing is fairly decent. Oh, and here's Proto Man, by the way. Here he is. It's been a while, Mega Man. Here's a little information. Your weapons can be used to discover hidden areas. Try using a flame weapon in the woods. Proto Man is encouraging arson! Now, in all seriousness, that's one thing that I feel like shoots the argument that there are only 4 robot masters at first for the plot. Like, that shoots that argument dead in the water. Because why would he say that? What flame weapon? There's a forest stage? That gives it away that there are going to be 4 other robot masters. And, if that's supposed to be, for the plot, then you're doing a terrible job at expositing it, at giving things away. Also, this part right here is a tribute to Airman's stage. You have the birds that drop the things the eggs that hatch various smaller birds. But, yeah, let's actually fight Cloudman. And one thing I feel I should mention, Cloudman can be kinda difficult without his weakness. I mean, with his weakness he's a joke, but without, he can be a bit tricky, but I can still beat him without his weakness. I mean, I can beat pretty much all of the robot masters without their weaknesses, maybe Slash Man is an exception, but besides that, oh yeah, there's Slash Man. He's one of the 4 that we haven't been introduced to yet, but it's like, the game spoils that there's going to be a forest stage, and there's going to be a flame weapon, both of which are not found in this set of 4 robot masters, so it's like, why should I care? This game doesn't care, so why should I? Yeah, anyway, as I was saying, there are some things that I do enjoy about this game, and one thing that I do like, it introduced the Quick Select, which becomes a staple for the series except for Mega Man 9 for some reason. I don't know about that, but still, the rest of the series has the Quick Select, and that is very much appreciated. Basically, you can press the L or R buttons to switch between your weapons without having to pause. Now, it's kind of annoying that you have to, you still have to manually select your rush things and some other power-ups that you get later, but yeah, that is still pretty neat, although it is kind of annoying that you still have to, deal with, having to manually select it for the other power-ups. But, yeah, I know it sounds like I've been harping on this game a lot right now, but, I mean, that's just because I want to get the bad stuff out of the way first. And so, It's like what I like to do is to just like get this stuff out of the way and then talk about the things that I actually like. And plus, like, since I was tackling Freeze Man, well, his weapon just so happens to be one that I do not like very much. It's just kind of not very good. However, that's not to say I don't like any of the weapons. Indeed, a lot of them are pretty good. I mean, like, the Freeze Cracker is crap, but the Thunderbolt, which is Cloudman's weapon, is pretty awesome. I also really love the Junk Shield, which may be the second best shield weapon in the series. It's that good. And it's, like, really effective, and it can utterly demolish a lot of enemies. Also, here's another application of the Freeze Cracker. You can use it to freeze the lava and get the S-plate, which is what I just did. Now, unfortunately, I can't really get the other thing that's in this stage because that's on the other route. That's kind of annoying that they make you replay it like that. But the reason I took on Freeze Man first is mostly just so I can remove backtracking. Because it's like, in my playthrough, sure, I don't like the Freeze Cracker or anything like that. And also, I edited that out, like I died intentionally off screen so that I can wind up right here, and we can actually get the other thing that's here in this stage. As I was saying, I tackled Freeze Man first to remove the backtracking, well, to reduce it at least. I'm not sure I can entirely eliminate it, unfortunately, but, well, I mean, I don't really mind backtracking as much as most people, but it's like, for an LP, that can get a little annoying to watch, so it's like, I don't really want people to have to sit through this, so that I just keep showing the same stage so that I can show off the other thing to get. But yeah, the thing that you can get is Rush Jet. This time it's a collectible and not something that's granted to you at the end of the stage. Yeah, for some reason they got rid of that method of introducing Rush abilities. And instead, all of them, except for Rush Coil, are collectibles. You have Rush Coil from the start. And Rush Jet can be useful in a few parts, but it's not as useful in this game as it was in previous ones. Because it just can't really match the power adapter. Actually, it's the super adapter. What am I talking about? Also, on a side note, this game in Japan, its title was Rockman 7 Showdown of Destiny, which sounds kinda neat. It's admittedly not the most interesting of titles. It's somewhat generic, but whatever. And what's that showdown refer to? Well, find out later. Tune in for what comes next. This here is Junkman, by the way, and he's a joke with his weakness. See, look at how I'm lopping the floor with him. But as I was saying about the big sprite issue, I realized that these stages do accommodate it, sort of. Except there's an issue that, like, it's harder to see things coming because, like, proportionately your field of view is smaller. and plus it's harder to get a read on the hitboxes. It's not the worst, but it is kind of a downgrade in that regard, and if you want a good example of an SNES game with good sprite size, look no further than the X trilogy on the SNES. But that'll do it for this episode. Join me next time when we finish off the last of the 4 Robot Masters, except for the remaining 5. And when we tackle the mid-stage. This is the Mississippi King signing out.